Okay, good afternoon again. All right, this is Althea Bailey. I am a retired lecturer from the Department of Community Health and Psychiatry. I used to teach health promotion to the MPH class, uh, right? And I still currently teach qualitative research in the DRPH program. So this afternoon, we'll be talking about proposal writing. All right, those of you who are familiar with me know that I have an open style. I'm actually teaching more than lecturing. So feel free to put up your hand and ask questions or challenge anything I say. All right, this presentation won't actually take the full 2 hours, so I'm sure you're relieved to hear that. Any questions before we begin?
Just thank you.
All right.
And just
Okay,
let you know that Cindy and Melissa should be joining shortly.
sure, no problem. All right, so why are we teaching students proposal writing? Anybody? Any reasons why you think this was included in the curriculum? I mean, this is not a academic research proposal. It's actually grant proposals, I should point out. So
Yeah.
why are we teaching you guys this?
So we need money to do the initiatives. So
What
we're
a
gonna
nice
need
answer. What a nice answer. Perfect. Ab- Absolutely. It takes cash to care. You can't do programs without funding. And so therefore, you're going to need funding in order to implement, especially those of you who work with the Ministry of Health or NGOs that are usually underfunded to do their programs. And you will have to use your initiative to do your own fundraising. And normally we write grant proposals in order to raise funds to do any initiatives. Anybody have any other reason why you think we're teaching you this? All right, the main answer is really to raise funds for your initiatives that you would not have had funding for, but it is actually whether or not you have adequate funding, you may actually want to do something that is not included in the plans that your organization has for you, or it may even be in your private lives, where you operate. Some of you are members of clubs and societies, some of you work in church and so on. And so grant writing, proposal writing is an essential skill for managers, and that's what you are being trained to do in the MPH program to be a manager, right? Restricted to the health field, but it's still training you to be a manager. All right, so we'll be spending the next hour and a little bit talking about proposal writing. All right, let me see if I can get my screen to respond to me. Right. So there are many reasons why you want to or need to write a grant proposal. You want to start a new project. You have identified a need in a setting in a community where there are no support services or related programs exist to address the need. So you are actually doing something in another area, but you realize that there's a need. So, for example, I'll be using many examples from my experience. In a former life, I worked for the Ministry of Health and the National HIV/STI program. All right. And as one of the behavior change communication officers, when we went into communities where there were high rates of STIs, we found that there were quite a lot of young people, all right, who were at risk, who um what should I say are marginalized because they didn't have adequate education. Many of them dropped out of school. Some of them were not what is it, documented. They had no birth certificates. Their lives were not what we would think a normal life. And so we realized that they were involving themselves into things that put them at risk, transactional sex, commercial sex, using drugs and so on, because the core of the problem was that they did not have skills that could send them to an institution where they could be trained for employment or they lacked the education, basic education. And so we found ourselves trying to do projects to reduce the risk of these young people. I mean, that's not HIV, STI related. We go around teaching them how to use condoms, how to negotiate condom use, how to recognize the signs of STIs, and that's the basic function, and send them, where to get treated and teaching them all of these things. But then what is going to happen? Every 2 months, they're going to come back with a new STI. And so, in order to motivate them to take charge of their lives and prevent themselves from being at risk, we did these programs. So, of course, this is not in your normal budget. So we found ourselves asking for funds to do these things. It could also be that you want to expand an existing project. You have a project. Okay, it's funded. Everybody is on board with the project. It has a life, it has a plan, it has a clear budget. But you realize that you're only serving part of the population, or there are aspects of the project that are not adequate. So you would like to add a component. You may want to provide an evening clinic. You may want to have a mobile service. You may want to target elderly people with hypertension, that kind of stuff, by going to their homes, stuff like that. So you want to beef up this program, and the costs are not going to be included in your current budget. So my example on the slide says you want to serve your program is slated to serve 50 families, but you want to expand it to serve 100 families. It don't have to be in terms of numbers only, but in terms of the type of service that you want to provide. All right, so grant proposals come in, as your colleague said, because you need money to do what you need to do. All right, it could be that you know of a granting agency that makes awards to pay for the program initiative that you want to do, or to solve the problem that you have. All right, and you know that you meet the eligibility standards for the awards. Okay, so for example, the Ministry of Health has a wellness grant. Everybody's aware of that grant?
No, miss.
Okay, well, they have a wellness grant now. Um, there are two tiers to it. I think the first tier, you get $20 million, and the second tier, I think it's two $20 million grants, and four, yes, if I'm not mistaken, four $5 million grants. So things like these, if you want to do something, you may want to apply for that grant. But there are many NGOs, especially the international NGOs, who have these funds that you can apply for to do your programs. Okay? And so you want to do your research, or you may have just heard about it. So the initial steps to do this grant proposal is the most time consuming, let me warn you. Because as I mentioned the word research, how many people here love research? I thought everybody was saying yes, yes, yes. All right. So the research is finding out how much is going to be given, what are the criteria for getting these funding, who is eligible. All right. So sometimes you have to partner with an NGO because you, as a Ministry of Health worker, or maybe the other way around, you're not eligible. So you have to partner with an NGO to do that part of it. So if you do your preparatory work well, it will simplify the writing of the proposal. So there's a lot of work before you actually begin to write this proposal. All right. So the first thing is, what do you actually want to do? You have to define it. It has to be clear. You have to be able to tell somebody in 1 or 2 minutes the exact mission and scope of what you want to do. I cannot be going around and around with any long explanation. You have to say something like, we want to empower 10 out of school youth to be able to reach to the stage where they're employable. And this is to reduce their risk of getting HIV because they are involved in transactional sex. Something like that. In 2 minutes, a person kind of understand what it is you want to do. All right. I would like to introduce health coaching in my clinic using volunteers, and I need funding to train these volunteers to do health coaching for persons who are uncontrolled. Or I would like to extend the hours of service for persons at this facility up until X time per night for those who are working, and we would like to provide these services. All right. So please remember to mute your mic if you're not speaking. Okay. So you need to clarify the purpose of your project. Write a concise mission statement. I'm sure you have been taught to write mission statements before. Let me see if I can mute this person. Hold on. If it allows me to mute. All right. The person who's administrator, your mic was open. I don't know if it's closed now. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So you need to be able to, the first thing you want to do is to define your project and write a mission statement. It's always good to write a mission statement, okay? Because that mission, it tells exactly what it is you want to achieve. It's very concise. You know the main quality of a mission statement is to be as concise as possible, okay? Then you want to look at the scope. What do I mean by the scope? How many, how long, what is the nature of the participants? All right, that kind of thing. So how many people, for how long will you offer the service, and who will it be for? Where will it be delivered? So that's the scope. Where, when, how, who. And then you're going to develop your project goals. What is it that you actually want to achieve in the end? And you know that goals are the overarching aims, okay, that you want to achieve, the overarching thing that you want at the end of the project. And then your specific objectives now are the measurable things that you're going to do in order to achieve the goals. So what are the specific objectives? And this will say we are going to focus on. All right. So in the example I've been using with the out of school youth to reduce their risk of HIV and reduce their involvement in transactional sex by making them employable or have skills to earn. You know, one of the objectives is we would like to make them fit to join a training program. All right. So by the end of the project, participants in this program, in this project, should be able to matriculate to one of the training programs that Heart NTA offers. Okay. So that's more specific. So it's telling what it is that you want to do to get to the goals. Remember, questions anywhere you want me to stop, all right? Or to expand or to. All right. So let's moving right along. So one goal I have, establish and maintain 2 health promoting schools in the parish of Trelawney. Good? It's the end product. What is it you want in the end? Establish and maintain 2 health promoting schools. Cool. The objective is that by the end of the intervention, at least 30% of the staff in the selected schools will be trained to deliver health and family life education. Okay, so you see, this is very specific. It tells you how much, what specific, what SMART objectives stand for again? Anybody? I know I'm a high.
Specific, measurable,
Mm-hmm.
I think attainable,
Yes.
relevant, and timely.
Very good. Okay, go to the head of the class, 100% A student. So correct. All right, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Good. So your objectives have to meet that criteria. All right, another objective is Healthy Lifestyle Club will be established and operational in both schools, and student participation in physical activity will increase by at least 5% over baseline. All right, but somebody said 5%. All right, for those of you who are health promotion specialists who are specializing in health promotion, you know that this is a very attainable objective because behavior change, all right, takes time, and 15% change in behavior is considered excellent. So you want to go for what you know is possible, and you don't just take this out of the air. You look at what other programs have done, all right? What has been achieved by other people who have done a similar thing? What do the psychologists say? What have other behavior change programs managed to achieve? So when you're making up these objectives, you're looking at other stuff, all right? Then, hold 1 second for me, please. Let me move this thing out of my way. I'm always not good at this. Okay. All right. So if I can't move it, let me minimize it. All right. One more move. How do I get it in single? I'm trying to move the All right, before I shut down this thing, let me leave it. Oh lordy. All right, give me 1 second, guys. No, I don't want to pin anything. I want to move the thing out of my eyesight. Did I get it to go on this? All right. Second. Okie dokie. I'll be right back. Okay, good. All right, so we're still in the preparation mode. Then the other thing, all right, so we have said we have set our goals, we have set our objectives, and we need to decide who the beneficiaries are, who will benefit. All right, the benefits can extend beyond the direct people who are involved in the program. All right, so if you go back to my example of out of school youth who were infected, being infected with HIV, when you think about the general population, it is going to add, all right, if less of them are infected, then the rates of HIV and STI in the entire country will be reduced. All right, or it could be the rates of that parish, or it could be the rates of that community. All right. So sometimes what it is you're going to do will benefit more than the persons who you're targeting. All right. Then you're going to say what are the outcomes in measurable terms. So remember we said in the scope, we want to know who will be involved, but what are the outcomes do you want? So if you go back to my objectives, let me go back a bit. All right. Oops, past it. All right, 30% of the staff trained to deliver. Okay, that's our outcome. All right, and the club will be established and operational in both schools, and participation in physical activity be increased by 5%. All right, so you want to draft your expected outcomes. What is it you're expecting to happen? Then you draft a proposal development timeline. So you're not start write anything yet, you know. When do you want this proposal to be finished by? Now, if it is that you know of a call for proposal, all right, and you know what the deadline is, please make sure, guys, listen to me carefully, that you plan to finish this proposal at least 2 weeks before the deadline, unless you just hear about it 2 weeks before the deadline. So you're trying your best not to be finishing it on the day before or the day because things happen. So you do a timeline that include how long are you going to take to plan, when are you going to be able to identify the funding, writing the proposal, when do you want to begin this project? All right. And you see that you're going to have to do research. So, for example, the one I taught, the Ministry of Health Wellness Fund, you would need to find out what time of the year do they disperse these funds? Is it September, April? Is it the financial year? Is it October? If you approach UNICEF to do something for youth, when is their disbursement time? You need to know all of that. All right. Do you know, are they going to give you all of the money one time? Are you going to get it in tranches? The first 3 months you get this amount and so on and so on. You need all of that information. All right. In order to plan your project start date. Then you will continue to update your timeline as you learn more about the submission deadlines. Okay? What is it they want? Do they want letters of support from other organizations? Do they need the CVs of the persons who are going to be involved in the project? Do they need, whatever it is that they need, then you have to have time to collect those things. Right? Now, if you don't have a call for proposal where there is a funder who's saying, I'm giving 20 million or 5 million, then you have to look for the right sources of funding. You have the idea, you know what you want to do. Okay? You want to have an evening clinic, you want to train health coaches, you want to do a healthy lifestyle club. What is it that you want to do? Who funds these kinds of things? All right. Is it the Ministry of Health and Wellness? Is it the National Health Fund? Are there any local foundations? Are there regional and international agencies such as PAHO, CARFA? And I mentioned UN agencies, okay? Then now you're going to match your project and the funding source by matching the purpose and goals of your project and the funder. What do I mean by that? So, for example, if you're doing something for youth, young people, and you're looking for an international donor, you're going to be looking for a UNICEF or a UNFPA because they specialize in youth. You get the point I'm making? If you're looking for something to do with heart, that is HEART, all right, or cardiovascular diseases or so on, you may want a PAHO, you may want one of these organizations that fund that kind of thing, okay? So you're looking for what it is you want to do and who funds these. How do you find that out? You find that out by doing your literature research. So you see people publish about a project that they got, and then you look at the end and say, who did they say funded this project? You can, well, now you guys have, the internet, and you even have AI that can, you just tell AI what you want. All right, who funds, all right, projects for salt reduction? Who funds project for people with disability? And you get your list of persons who are funders. So you have identified maybe 2 or 3 possible funders. You have to determine which one you're going to try. All right? Or sometimes you can do more than one. Okay, but what happens when both of them say yes? So I usually just try to stick with one, all right, that is most suited. So you match your project funding and you're going to look now, what do they require? What is information do they want? All right. You can actually go to the organization and request their guidelines, or you can go again and Google the list of projects that they have funded before. What have they funded before? All right. They may have an annual report that you can find that in, but now with AI, you can ask AI to do anything you want to do. So those are the good uses of AI, not to complete your assignments. AI is to find out information. So request the guidelines because different organizations have different guidelines. I'm going to be teaching you a generic kind of format, but different organizations have different formats that they use. And you want to look at what have they funded before? What did these people get? What is the maximum amount of the grant? It don't make sense. You need $1 million and all they give is 400,000. That can't help you. So you want to go for an organization that gives, all right, the maximum, all right, of what you want. Okay. What is the average size of the awards that they have been giving to other people? And so that will help you determine who you're going to target as your source of funding. Feel free to contact the founders. Most of them have this is how you contact us, email. All right. It's not like they are not like the what you call them now, the utility organizations in Jamaica who have a contact email, and when you type your problem 1 year later, nobody don't answer you yet. Most of these organizations do have somebody that monitors their email and they are likely to answer your questions. Okay. So you're going to find out who's their project officer and who you can call to ask things. Some of them in their call to proposal, they actually do give you the name and the contact information for a person, an officer that you can call for your questions. Or they say that at this between this period and this period, they are open to take questions. All right, maybe many of you have not written proposals before, but as somebody that has done quite a lot of that, usually most called for proposals, a lot of the organizations have a time period in which they make someone available or information available when they will answer your questions. All right? You want to know how is it reviewed? How do they determine who they give the money to or not? What are the budgetary requirements and preferences? What do they want to see in the budget, the money that you're asking for? You can't just say, okay, we need $2 million for a healthy lifestyle club. No, you have to say how much you're going to use for training, how much you're going to use for refurbishing a physical activity room, how much you're going to use to pay a physical activity coach. You have to give them all of that details and including how much your organization is going to contribute, preferably you, if not in cash, in kind, like time. You know, you are going to be the project officer's salary zero. Okay? You want to know if they require matching funds. Quite a lot of these organizations says at least 15% or 20% of the requested funds must be matched by the organization. And some of them allow in-kind matching. So I have applied for funding where they want 20%, which is pretty high, of matching funds, but they allow you. All right, so I'm gonna say Althea Bailey is a lecturer at UWI, should earn a little pittance, but 15% of her time to work on this is valued at XXX. And you put that in as the salary for the project manager. Okay? All right, or if you have somebody who's gonna volunteer to be your IT person who's gonna come in and do that, how much you normally pay an IT person? The person is not charging you, but you would evaluate how much that person would cost you, and you put that in as your matching funds. All right. So whether it is in-kind support is acceptable, you want to know that, and what proportion. And you want to know, as I said before, how do they disperse? Don't think that, okay, we're gonna get 50% so we can buy the computer, we can buy the office furniture, we can pay so and so, because that's not how they do it. All right, you have to deliver X before you get Y, or we only pay out in quarters. So every quarter you get a certain amount. All right. So even if you don't get the money, at the bottom of my slide, I said, trust me, and I have learned that the contacts you make are going to prove invaluable in the future. Because 2 years later, you're going to remember, oh, yes, I did talk to so and so, and it's a different call for proposal, or they may know somebody in a related agency that they can tell you to call. So don't think you're wasting your time. All right. I'm one of those people who are very uncomfortable with silence. Is it that I am so clear that you have no questions? Or you've all
So
gone
far,
to
clear
bed?
as day.
Pardon?
So far, clear as day.
Oh dear. Wow. All right. I need to put that on my CV. I'm clear as day. All right. Thank you, guys. Get the guidelines, as I said, read it very carefully, including what is the page limit. Aha! After you write your nice 20-page proposal, here says three. I'm telling you things that happened to me. You write your nice 20-page proposal and you hear no more than 4 pages. Lord God,
Specify.
nightmare.
Do they specify the paper size? Because
Pardon?
all I do they specify the paper size? Because if I don't write
Sometimes,
it,
sometimes,
I'm,
sometimes
I'm
they do.
thinking in
Sometimes they do.
tabloid to reduce
Some of
the
them give
size.
you all word limit.
Oh,
Yes, word limit. Because some organizations actually give you a format. All right? You know, these online formats. You know, like when you're going to submit to some organization for whatever you want to write a summary, it only allows you 500 words. So you have to know, write it, type it out, and then condense, because the electronic form that they give you, it only allows certain number of words. Okay? So that's why I say you have to get the proposal guidelines and be familiar with them. You see what I'm saying? You can't decide that you're going to submit a proposal 2 days before, because it means you're not going to eat, sleep, or go to the bathroom for 2 days, because you have to do all of this research and meet the specification before you can submit. So when you're reading the guidelines, you're looking for when is the submission deadline. Okay, you guys are submitting to the Mona Research Ethics Committee. Did you know that you have to register on the portal at least 24 hours before submission? Did you know? Are you at that stage? I'm kind of out of touch with things. Are
I
you
think so.
submitting your research proposal?
Yes, I actually got back corrections from Esther.
Great. Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Good. So you know that you have to go on the platform and register before you can submit, and that has to be done 24 hours before the actual deadline. Okay.
Correct.
Right. So in the same way, a lot of these organizations, they have submission deadlines, which is not necessarily the date when you submit, but you have to do certain things by a certain time. You have to register, you have to give proof of this, that, and the other. Are you eligible? You may find out that after you write, you're not eligible because you don't fit into their specification of who they fund. They don't fund government agencies. They don't fund organizations that are not that don't employ the same amount of males or females. They have all kind of eligibility criteria. So you have to make sure that you fit into the eligibility. All right. You must have an income of so much or no more, or you must have over this amount of income and that kind of thing. You must have a certain number of staff. You must have people who can do this. All of these things are there in their eligibility. Not all the organizations give you all of these details, but I'm saying you're looking for that. All right. What is the format do they want? Right? As somebody was asking, some of them want margin, they spacing, they want double point, they want, right? And you want to know how do they evaluate, right? The number of pages that they allow. So when you get all of this information, now you're going to go back to your timetable, your proposal writing timetable, and you're going to review it. What is the budget limit? All right. What are your funding goals and priorities? What do they fund? Some people, for example, don't put no food, no refreshment for no workshop. They not fund no food. Okay? Or they don't do recurrent expenses. So I have had projects where they don't do recurrent expenses. They don't pay light and water and those kind of things. All right? So you have to know what. So if you're gonna open a drop-in center, for example, one of the things that we've got funded was a drop-in center, but we are renting this place and we have to pay the people rent, and we have to, in that rent is light and water. So we had to find another source of paying that rent because they don't pay those kind of things. All right. What is their criteria for awarding you? All right. Who are you to contact and any other submission requirements? All right. You notice I saying update the timeline. So this is still in preparation. You notice the title of my slide, still prepare you those. All right yet? All right. This now is a good point at which to update your timeline. Now that you know what the submission deadline is and you doing your timetable. Your timetable for writing the proposal includes time to write multiple drafts. You're never, ever, no matter how high your IQ, no matter how experienced you are, you're never going to be able to write one draft. Trust me. Okay? Then you need time to solicit the project officer. So some organizations, as I said, they give you a project officer who will actually come and review your draft. So I was on the board of an organization that was applying for funds from UN Women. And to my delight, they actually offered a project officer who came to us at our place, sat with us while we were in our group writing the proposal, and gave us advice as we were writing. I have never seen that before or since. And I thought that that was awesome. So the project officer came to us. We didn't even have to go to him. It was a him. And he did sit with us for an entire day. So what we did, we had a proposal writing workshop day. And we started at 9, served lunch, and we stayed there until 3. And we worked all day because we were trying to break the back of the first draft. And he was so very helpful. He actually came and spent the whole day with us. All right, these rich organizations. All right, what is relevant and permissible materials do you need? As I said, they may ask for references for the persons who are leading the project. They may ask for letters of support from other organizations, especially if you're a non-governmental organization. They want to know that you're legit because so scamming is a whole new thing now, and don't believe that the scammers don't try to submit proposals. So they want to know, are you a legit organization? Have you been funded before? What kind of experience have you had in doing projects? That kind of thing. So you may have to show them all of these things. You may have to get a letter of reference from another organization that funded you. And these busy organizations, you can't ask them for a reference and get it tomorrow. So all of these things you have to factor in. All right. Then you want somebody or people to prepare an impartial critique of your proposal. All right. So somebody who's not involved in the writing process to read it and to tell you that, oh, I understand what you're trying to, but this section is not clear. Okay, the language that you use here sounds discriminatory. I remember I was writing a proposal. As I told you, I work in HIV STI program, and I was writing a proposal to fund something for sex workers. And there was a section that I had describing, the different type of sex workers. And how I hope there's no US person in the class. These US agencies they're very politically correct. And of course, as a Jamaican, we don't really understand that. So I use language. It wasn't anything out of order. I think like I said something like, and trying to explain why the different sex workers. I said something like sex workers over a certain weight tended to be able to attract less high profile customers, and they were they were taking about that is so discriminatory and whatever. So I had to change my language. Okay. Suppose I came to Jamaica and hear the people calling people mampy. I'm like, okay, then I will change my language. So these are the kind of things that you need to bear in mind. All right, so finally we're ready to write our proposal because we have all of that information. All right. So you're going to pay attention to detail. If you're not a detail person, work with somebody. You know those people who are very fussy and detailed, dot the T, dot the I's, cross the T's, sentence not complete, that kind of person. You left out this, you need those people who I sometimes find very annoying, but I have learned to value them because they make you produce excellent work. So you're going to pay attention to the structure, to the details. You want to use concise, persuasive writing. All right. I don't know if you still do that in health communication, where they teach you how to write concisely and persuasively. So you're going to use language that don't go on and on and on and on and on. You want to say exactly what you're going to say in the least amount of words, which I never get on exam papers. I don't know where people find time to write all of that on exam paper. I'm like, oh, you have so much time. Anyway, I digress. And a reasonable budget. I know you want $5 million because you want to be able to buy 5 computers, but you really only need two. And the people them are going to realize that you really need two, but you're buying five because you know, said Mr. Nah, you need more computer for the next 10 years. So you want to make sure you have. No, don't do that. Yeah, your budget must be in keeping, all right, with what you want to do. There are many ways to organize a proposal, but whatever guideline the funder gives, you have to adhere to their, even if you think their guideline fool. And trust me, I have seen many guidelines that I think are inappropriate, not efficient, but guess what? They have the money and I need it. So you have to adhere to their guideline. All right, so what are the standard components of funding proposal? Okay, the narrative, the background. The background should include what the problem is. So you have to be able to describe the problem. Why is this a problem? Why out of school you two don't finish school? Why is how that relate to risk? How them I get HIV and STI? How that relate? So you have to describe that. It's good to refer to the literature that says that this is really an issue. It's not you take it out of the sky. All right. You want to justify why this project is a good one. All right. So your justification, what are your goals and your objectives? Then you're going to make a work plan. You have to be able to convince them that you can get this done. So you have to give a work plan that makes sense. Okay? So don't say I am going to train 400 people in 3 weeks. Duh. Why, with which army? All right? When? No rain not going to fall, nobody not going to sleep. So be realistic, all right, with your work plan. A budget, very, very important. And I'm going to show you how to do a budget that make people understand exactly what it is that you're going to do with their money. All right, then you have appendices for your support material. So if they want the CVs of the project officers, if they want the letters of support from other organizations, if they want, for example, if you want to purchase equipment or so on, they want pro forma invoices, all of these may be in the appendices, and they want an authorized signature. Who can sign for this organization? All right, a person may not be a part of your project team, but they are the authorized person. It could be a medical officer of health. It could be the founder of the chair of the board of the organization, somebody who's an authorized signature. And some proposals want a summary or an abstract. Just like how you do an abstract or a summary for your research proposal, they want an abstract that summarizes everything. This is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. And this is what the money that we want. And we're going to use money for that. And including why you are able to do it, which is certification, which means we have been trained as health coaches by John Hopkins, so on, so on, so on, and why you're able to do what it is you say you're going to be doing. Okay? And they usually have a word limit for their proposals. All right, I'm still being clear of D as D because I hear no questions, so I'm moving along. All right, so let's talk about the narrative. The narrative is going to include purpose and the goals. It's pretty much like a research proposal. All right. The objectives are considered part of the narrative and a compelling, notice I underline that, a compelling, in other words, justification, logical reason why you should support this. It cannot be gotta go sing you if you do not give us the money. Okay? Why? It is going to do X for Jamaica. It is going to save, it is going to reduce HIV infection among out of school youth by X%. It is going a compelling reason why it should be supported. Your background part of the narrative provides the perspective, you know, what is happening in terms of obesity. You know, I'm going all over the place, but let's say we want to do something to reduce obesity in children. Okay, so what obesity leads to? Obesity is increasing in children in all over the world, including Jamaica. This is what happens, you know, and so on. What is your approach? What are your strategies? And this is where now your approach and strategies have to come, right, with citation. Okay? You may have something unique that you want to do. That's fine. But usually you try to use an approach and a strategy that has been proven to be successful and been endorsed by people who are specialists in your field. So we know that health coaching has been proven to improve adherence to lifestyle and medication among people with hypertension. And you give your citation. It has worked in Mexico, it has worked in China, it has worked in Barbados, and we're going to try it here in Jamaica. You get the point? Then you have to say, how are you going to evaluate the success or the outcomes of your project? What will be your evaluation? Please don't say you're going to evaluate yourself. So you must have some form of objective evaluation. You can have subjective ones too, you know, but one part of it must be objective. And if you can have some external evaluation, some other organization or somebody who's outside of your project to evaluate. Then you're going to give your project timeline. How long is this project going to go for? Is it going to go in stages and so on? And the credentials of your organization. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been around? All right, who are your project personnel? We have 5 persons who are professors in so and so. We have 10 persons who are experts in so and so, and blah, 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 and so on. Still clear as day. All right, so I'm giving you an example of an operational timeline. Okay? So, going back to the project with the healthy schools, all right, that I was using as my example in the lecture. All right, this is the operational or the work plan
Is this a
timeline.
Gantt chart?
Kind of, kind of. It's a very simple one though. All right, Gantt chart would have much more than this. It would want the Gantt chart would want you to put in if you have the activity, what you need for the activity, who will do the activity, and so on. But this one is a very simplified form. All right.
Thank
So
you.
I'm sorry.
Other thing, thank you.
Oh, cool. All right. So this is what we're going to do, guys, who we're asking for the funding. We're going to have our stakeholders planning meeting So the school and the stakeholders will plan between April and June. That's on our first quarter. That's what we're going to do. And while we're planning, we're going to be training, all right, the people who are going to do the health and family life education in our healthy schools. All right. And we're going to even begin our school-based operations, initiate our school-based operations. And it says initiated, but obviously you're going to go over a period of time. All right. So they are planning to do this in 2 years. So they have 8 quarters. All right. And their school-based operations are initiated. So they probably, identify a room, probably identify which teachers are going to deliver and that kind of thing. All right. Then they are launching. After they prepare all of this, they're going to launch in the second quarter. And the community clubs, school and community clubs are going to be involved. They would have had all of this in their methodology, of course, right? They would have explained all of these activities would have been outlined in their narrative, in their methodology, into what they're going to do. So they're taking those methods and putting them into the chart to show when they're going to do what. So they're liaising with their school and community clubs. All right, and then you will see they have their first monitoring meeting, their second and their third monitoring meeting. So once every quarter, they do a monitoring meeting. Of course, you can't monitor before you begin. So the monitoring after the first quarter. Initial startup report. All right. And then they're going to have a national healthy lifestyle competition at the end of 2 years. And their year one reports will be produced in the first quarter of the following year, and their year two report in the last quarter. All right, so it's kind of just showing you how you do the work plan so that people see that you really think through. Does this make sense? How you're going to start your initial and you don't train the body, that kind of thing. It must make sense. All right. So, some tips for writing the narrative. The narratives must satisfy the following questions. What do you want, or what do we want? What concern are we addressing? We're addressing violence in schools. We're addressing uncontrolled hypertension. We're addressing poor physical activity or obesity. We're addressing poor sanitation in post-Melissa, whatever it is you're addressing. Why is it important for you to address this? Because it can lead to X, Y, and Z. And if we address it, it will save 50 lives, 100 lives, whatever. Who is going to benefit? How will they benefit? What are your specific objectives? And you know how to write objectives already. All right. And how can they be accomplished? And how they are going to be accomplished is your strategy. So strategies are the higher level things. Activities are like workshops. Strategy is like training, health coaching, um, higher level stuff like maybe you want to do medication substitution for your persons who are non-compliant because of side effects, the higher level things, all right? So the activities now are what the things that you're actually going to do on a week-to-week, day-to-day, month-to-month basis, and then how you will measure your results. Guys, a lot of this won't make sense to you until you're beginning to write your proposal. So this is being recorded, and I will make sure to send this to Mrs. Walter so you can have access to it. All right. Okay. So one of the things you have to think about, which is very, very important, and I'm not boasting, but I think that I've been very good at identifying how to write that funding request to fit the funder's purpose, objectives, and priorities. So no, I know that this organization, they want to see gender equality, or they are very, very interested in reduction in violence. So everything that you're writing, you're pointing out, that you know the things that they want to hear. You're using the language they want to hear. You're talking about the outcomes that they want to hear. And you have to it means that you have to do your research on the organization and read some of their stuff so that you're speaking their language that they can relate to. Then you have to tell them about who you are. All right. It's very unlikely you're going to be applying as an individual. Most of the time, you'll be applying as an organization. All right. Who are you are? Okay. If you are doing as an individual, then it'll be even more important for you to say who you are and why you're trustworthy and how you're going to make sure you don't run away with this money. All right. How do you qualify to meet the need of what you're going to address? All right, so you see, as the size matters, guys. It does matter. All right. When I use teach health communication, I use the acronym KISS. Keep it short and simple. All right. The mini skirt, think mini skirt, short and simple, attractive. People don't want long running on. None of us, as much as I am a reader and I love to read, but if it's going on and on and on, and I'm not getting the point, I'm like, moving right along. So short as possible, but answering the questions or requests. Think about quality, not quantity. Don't pad. Don't pad. Padding is bad. Now, here comes the magic thing. It's what I call the hook. All right. It's not a very elegant term, but it is exactly that. How you're going to catch them, how you're going to make them want to give you money, how are you going to make the fish bite? The hook. There are many ways to represent an idea. The hook tailors the description of your idea to the interest of the funder. The funder, all right, wants to hear that this is what is going to happen. They believe that this is the way to go. All right. And so you're going to write to show that your hook, what the key issue that you or the key strategy or the key thing that you're going to solve, all right, aligns with the purpose and goals of the funder. That's your hook. Okay? If they believe that um employment is what saves people from getting into trouble, if they believe that training is what make health workers stop stigmatized, if they believe that accountability is what makes things work, you have to flag accountability if that's what they want. You have to flag training if that's what they want. It's the critical aspect of your proposal narrative. It determines how compelling the reviewers will perceive your submission to be. All these people know what they're doing. They believe in the same thing that we believe in. So you have to find a good hook, something that will catch the attention and go with what the funder wants. Everybody understand what I mean by the hook? All
Like,
right, good. The budget now. Budgets are your cost projections. Of course, they're projections, but make them as realistic as possible. They indicate how projects will be implemented and managed. Well-planned budgets reflect carefully thought out projects, okay? And the funders know this. Be sure to only include things that the funder is willing to support. So if them say them no fund food, nobody try squeezing the food by calling it um some other nice name. Them no fufu, them no say how much food you want to buy. All right, funders use these factors to assess budgets. One, they ask, can it be accomplished with this budget? So I know, ladies, we are miracle workers, and we think that we can go to the supermarket with $2,000 and come back with a bag of grocery. It's not going to fly with these funders. They will say these people are crazy. There's no way you are going to be able to do this with this amount of money. You need more money. All right. So that's why I'm saying don't bother go to a funder who's not giving you the money that can realistically do the thing. No matter how you think you're gonna cut and carve. All right?
What if you plan to use two? So you
Mm-hmm.
you go to for kind of founder A, founder B, with the hope
Mm-hmm.
that the next founder is going to give you as well to make up the difference.
It's not a good plan. It's not a good plan. All right. If you are what you do, if you already have funding from a source, okay, or you've been promised funding from a source, you can say that. All right. XXX, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of so on so on, has committed to giving us $5 million. We need an additional 5 million. But they're going to ask you for that letter of commitment. Okay?
Can you
But
say that you
don't
can go on me?
but don't try to give the same proposal to three people for get three different money. It doesn't work that way. Because then three people are claiming the outcomes as theirs. It's
Got you.
just like how, when I teach behavior change, I tell people, um, I tell people one example of understanding why people have multiple partnerships, all right, where they have concurrent partners is one to pay the light bill, one to pay the school fee, and one to love. So who is the partner? All right, who's the partner? Is the one that paying the light bill? Is the one that paying the school fee, or is the one that you love? Who's the partner? It's the same kind of concept. Maybe I've gone out of below your league, guy, but you understand the point I'm making. It's not gonna work that way. You
What if
have
you say
to.
you have a GoFundMe?
Hmm?
What if you say that you have a GoFundMe and you're hoping that the GoFundMe will raise the rest?
Go for me.
Or you trying to
No.
do cake
They're not the
sales?
GoFundMe not going to fly. It's not gonna. If you already collect the money from the GoFundMe, that's fine. You already have. This is what I have. But you
Okay.
can't tell them you're hoping to go for me. Tell the truth now. Would you, if you were the CEO of NHF, would you give your money to health department that said they're going to have a GoFundMe?
Do they already have to GoFundMe?
No,
Have they
if you already
collected?
have the money, you don't have to tell them how you get the money.
No, me like
You
if
have the
they
money.
already started getting, they haven't reached their goal yet. Suppose the goal on GoFundMe was $1,000, and they have like 350.
Mm-hmm.
It making there is
If you already
potential.
have funds, all you have to show them is to say, we already have these funds. You have to tell them where you get the money from. Because one drug dealer could have given the money. You don't want them to know that. I'm just kidding. But you
Get
understand?
you.
If you
Understand?
already have funds, you don't have to tell them your source of the fund. But you cannot work with money that you don't already have. Nobody's going to fund you based on that. You must have that money in hand, in an account somewhere. That's the point I'm making. They're not going to look at money to come. It's just like the bank. It's just like the bank, eh? So if you go, let's use National Housing Trust. Let's say you're a self-employed person, and you say I earn so and so and so, okay, and I'm going to be able to pay the mortgage because of so and so. You have to show them evidence that this is how you earn. You have to come with your what's the term now? Your income statement to show evidence of how you earn this money. Nobody's going to give you money because of money that you hope to get. It's not going to fly. Trust me. All right. All right. And then they're going to ask also, are your costs reasonable for the market? Is it too high or too low? So you're going to pay a project administrator, and the normal fee for somebody who has their qualification is $8 million a year. And you are employing somebody for $4 million per year. I'm going to say, no, so something not right here, so. Or you're going to say the person is giving 50% of their time. That's different. So, for example, I applied for a wellness fund, and I applied for the salary for a research assistant at X amount because I know them only give $4 million. And I said this person is part-time. So you have to explain why that little bit of money. And If it's usually $8 million, you're asking for 16 billion. I'm gonna say, you want to want to thief off the person. You are the person in collusion. Them get the 8 million, give you the other 8 million. So it has to be in keeping because they do their research, they know. All right? They know these things. All right. So looking at your budget again, is the budget consistent with your activities? All right. Why are you buying 5 fans? Why are you buying a motor vehicle? Okay. You say you're going to give your participants reimbursable bus fare. So why are you buying a project vehicle? What are you going to do with the project vehicle? That kind of thing. And does your budget have sufficient explanation of, you can't just put a list of things, a photocopier, or do you have to put it aligned to an activity or an outcome? So there are many, many organizations that provide mandatory budget forms. There are formats that they want the budget in. And many of them, very tedious. They want a pro forma invoice. So a group of us once applied for, oh gosh, age is not good. I just remembered what I was gonna say. But it's one of these JC funding, and they give you a mandatory budget form. And if you're going to purchase things, you have to give them 3 pro forma invoices. If you're going to buy a laptop, 3 pro forma invoices, and they're going to give you the amount for the lowest. So we had to, because remember now, you're not get the money next week. You'll get the money 3 more, 4 or 5 months down the line. You know, so the price of the laptop will go up. So we had to learn from the hard way, learn that you go to 3 high, cost or suppliers and get 3 pro formas because theirs are going to be on the high end so that the 4 months later when the price of a laptop go up, you can still buy a laptop. You understand? But they're going to give you the lowest pro forma. But you must submit 3 because you have to prove to them that you're not going to go and splurge their money. Okay? Always list your in-kind support and matching revenue. Even when they don't ask me for it, I put it. All right? I put a little line and I say, I am giving 10 hours per week. This is my salary. My weekly salary would come to this amount. And I'm giving 10 hours of this. And I cost it. Okay? And you have to be flexible about your budget in case the funder chooses to negotiate costs. So don't give the exact amount, people. Me learned that the hard way already. You give the right exact amount and they say, okay, we're going to fund you, but we're going to give you 15% less. And I'm like, dear Jesus, God, me can't tell them no. We're going to find out a 15%. So you don't put no miscellaneous down, no bother with it. Don't try it. Just add, do your little creative things. So if the person's salary would have been 3.5 million, you put a 3.6. The places where you can, if they negotiate and they reduce, you have your little leeway to reduce. Those of you who do budgets on a day-to-day basis, you will know how to do that. You have to you learn as time go on. But what the point I'm making is don't make it exact. Do it a little higher. Not 100% higher, not 20% higher, but between 10 or 15% higher. So that you have a leeway in case they don't give you the full amount.
Usually, what currency do you do the budget in?
I'm sorry?
Usually, what currency do you do the budget in?
Well, it depends. They will determine, for local organizations, I do both. I put Jamaican and US. The reason why I do both is because you want them to see that although it may look like a lot, and they do know, but this is the US that you want. So that if you're funding me 6 months later and the rate goes down, you're putting me at a disadvantage. You get me? They kind of put them. But many of them specify JM dollars or whatever. And you can put both. You're allowed to put both.
Thank you.
But you have to state the rate that you're using, eh? So at the end of the budget, you put the rate, the conversion rate.
Can you put like a projected what kind of inflation? So you use a rate of 2% for inflation. So if the product takes you
If they
500,
allow it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would put in the inflation. I would put in that inflation to the things without stating it. If they allow you to, you get me?
understood.
Right. If they allow you to, so those are the kind of questions you can ask if there is a project officer who you can talk to. You can say, can we put in a 2% inflation? All right. But what I do, I don't bother with that. I just inflate. I inflate everything by 5% as a given based on what I have learned over the years. For example, I am currently the beneficiary, myself and a colleague, beneficiary of a wellness fund. We were awarded, listen to me, I'm not kidding you. You can check it out. You can go on the internet and look. We were awarded this wellness fund in 2020. COVID happened. The government take the money and run COVID. And we got that money in January 2026. The same $4 million. You
Wow.
hear me? All right. Okie dokie. So even my bumper 5% can't help me. None at all. So I'm tearing out my hair. If I turn on the camera, you see the middle of my head tear out. All right. So this is the implementation. Another way. I like this way. I really, really like this implementation work plan schedule because you're gonna write your activity, what you require to do the activity. So let's say, for example, training 20 health coaches. What do I require? I need a venue. I need 4 trainers. Right?
Material,
Pardon?
material,
I
such as
need
book, pen,
stationery, right? You can just use a summary word, stationery, or you can say training materials. And then what I actually do is here, I put in the sub cost. So if I say 3 trainers at $20,000 each. So the cost would be, right, $60,000 over here. So in the requirements, all right, training materials, including stationery and so at so and so. All right, and then over here, I put the final cost. You get the gist of what I'm saying. What is the time when you're going to do this? Because this is important, especially for those who disperse, who don't give you all of the money one time. The Ministry of Health give you all of the money one time. But there are some organizations that give you the money in quarters or half a year. So you want them to know these are the activities I'm going to do by March 2026. Okay? And who's responsible? Project officer, the administrator, the training coordinator. Who are the people that are responsible? You don't put in people name, you put in their responsibility, their title or whatever it is. Okay? And then you put in your total amount that you want. I probably share my budget with you. I think I'm gonna do that. Oh, they're recording it. Oh no, I can't share it. All right. What are the supporting materials? The supporting materials are arranged in an appendix, and these may include the endorsement from other organizations, partnering agencies, collaborators, things about the applicant. This is person of good repute. She has managed 5 projects before, and so on. If they want certification, that you are a certified trainer, if they want certification of whether or not you are certified to give injections. I'm just being ridiculous now. The required certification. Information about the project personnel and the consultants that you're going to use. Okay, they want to know that. And you can have your exhibit tables and charts. So, for example, you showed in Clinic X, all right? They tried the health coaching. And when you look at the patient charts for the patients who received the health coaching and those who didn't receive, and you can use that as an example. So these are the kind of things you put in the appendices. It makes you think, that you really think it through. Find out if they want it though, or if they allow it, because some people don't allow it. If they fund you, then they ask you for it. All right. Or if they shortlist you and you're going to be interviewed, sometimes they ask you to bring it. So, guys, be prepared to invest time to collect your resources. You see how much things I've mentioned that you could probably need to document your capacity. Document your capacity. You can't just throw any CV in there that you have for your academic purposes. You want a CV that is aligned to the project work to update your resume. People like me who only update their resume once a year because I'm don't like it, but I'm learning to do it more regularly. Update your resume, collect letters of endorsement or other kind of letters, and include reference reports or whatever is needed. So you cannot write a proposal in 2 days unless you're not going to eat, sleep, or use the bathroom. All right. So what are the proposal must fit the specifications. Some organizations give you very, very specific things that they want in their guideline. Only the number of pages, what is the format, complete the required forms, use the spacing and page orientation that they said, include a cover page only if allowed. I like cover pages because on my cover page, I would put, like the logo, I would put a little blurb about the organization or mission statement. I would put the list of members of the organization and say, what is Dr. So and so, whatever, whatever. All right. However, do not bind your proposal. Do not bind. Nobody wants bound proposals anymore. I shouldn't even take out this. Nobody wants a bound proposal anymore. That's gone, 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 gone. All right. Most people want an electronic one, but even if they want a paper-based one, I think the Ministry of Health still wants paper-based. It should be because what they do, because I've been a member of a review committee, many review committees for proposals, for grant proposals. And what they do is they put your proposal in pieces. So there are two people who are reviewing the budget. All right. So everybody reads the narrative. Then they give two people the budget. Then they give two people the methodology. So I have been on these things. So they want to be able to pull it apart to give people. They're not going to go and photocopy your old 20 pages. Believe me. All right. Be concise. I can't stop saying that. Elaborations should add depth and scope. If you have to, add depth and scope and be prepared to write multiple drafts. Contact them about this. All right. So I'm moving on now. So you're done submit. Yay. Relief. You can sleep now. All right. You can still stop having nightmares. You have to follow up. All right. They said we will contact you by X time and the time pass. Go contact them. That's fine. No problem. Don't harass them after 1 week. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you would have asked the project officer what is the usual review time. So believe it or not, 1 year after the Ministry of Health told me that I had been granted their wellness fund, I said, hello, people, what? And they said, oh, your money has been diverted to COVID. And I'm like, okay, then that did. Right? Lo and behold, I was called. The money is here. I'm like, what? 6 years? Well, it would be 5 years because I contacted them a year. 5 years later, nobody don't tell me that, that kind of thing. So you have to follow up, all right? To see if the proposal is not accepted. Yeah, you're gonna cry, you're gonna mourn, but it is important to find out why. Why was not? Some people don't. They say only people who are shortlisted must contact them. Some of them are rude like that. But I try to find out why it was not, what were the strengths, what were the weaknesses. And sometimes it's nothing about you. It's just that somebody wrote a better proposal than you. All right? And you get your money and you have a big smile. All right? Success. Success. And those are my references. As I said, I'll send it. I just want to show you a couple of things. I hope I have them open before I close. What time is it? Have I beat my own 1 hour schedule? Is that it? All right, hold on. Give me 1 second, please. Let me find the documents that I want to share. I did open them, but I don't see any Word file open here now, so I have to go find it back. I'm so sorry. Give me a sec. I don't know when I close them. Okay, found them. They're actually not closed. All right, so I'm sharing the format, which I basically went over. That's a blank one. I'll send these to Mrs. Walters. All right, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is just giving you the different levels. So the title, the proposal, then you would have your background, the scope, which would be the what? The who, all right? The when, all right? The who, the when, the where, and the how many, all right? Why, the rationale, why are you doing this, your goals, your objectives, your methodology, including your activities. For example, you're going to do a baseline survey, you're going to do training, and then your implementation plan. Convenient dates and time for producing the services, your monitoring and evaluation plan. Oh, one thing I forgot, your sustainability plan, especially if it is something that, it's a thing like a health coaching or so. How are you going to continue this when you're done with this? All right. They like that. This is one of the good hooks. I am going to be able to sustain this by doing X, Y, and Z. And that you can write your GoFundMe for. Oh, the GoFundMe lady. We're going to start a series of GoFundMe to sustain. All right. So that will be more acceptable. Your budget. All right. Like I said, your activity, your timeline, what you require to do your baseline survey, training, and so on, so on, so on. All right. So this is another format of your budget and your appendices. All right. Okay, and I have one more document to share with you. Maybe I don't share this one. Like maybe, let me show you my budget. Yeah, that one you can just read. It's evening. All right, let me just share my budget with you. Although it's being recorded, but I'll take the risk that you are honest people who won't run with it. All right, so this is big enough for you to see it. Let's see if the budget is in it. Yeah, but the budget not stay good. All right, I can push it down. I am going to share with you. Oh, sorry. Undo, undo, undo. Boy, for me. I'm a mess. I forgot that this thing, because I cut and paste it. All right. Yeah, it can't work. All right. So I am ready to share it with you so that you can get an idea of how hopefully you'll be able to read it. So this is what I was just awarded. All right, I thought it might be nice for you to see. So that's the title of the proposal, but this is just to show you the work plan. All right, as you see, we wanted to do it February to March 2021, and I just got it January 2026, but of course I had to redo this. So this table you're looking at here, hopefully you can read it. Are you able to read it? The work
Yes,
plan?
ma'am. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you will see the project implementation, the funding application, the ethical approval to do the study, the agreements for the fund creation, to train study staff, and I have the different times when I am going to do it. All right. Recruitment, all right, of to procure my equipment I'm gonna buy. You're gonna see what equipment I'm gonna buy. Recruitment of the cancer survivors because we're going to be interviewing cancer survivors, to conduct our interviews, transcription of the interviews, analysis and reporting, and closing the project. All right, so that's another format in which you can do your work plan, different from what I showed you. Oops, this is what I'm telling you I'm a mess at. Let me use this and show you the budget now. All right. All right. So this budget is, I was trying to get it on one page so that you could see it, but you will see that it is in subsections. So in this way, I did personnel. All right. So now, as when I first applied, I was gonna pay the person this full time, but now I've had to change it to part time because you can't pay nobody that again. All right, full time. And I reduce the amount a little bit because I'm taking off some money from this now to do other things. Because of course, you know, between 2021 and now, everything gone up. So I reduced the salary of the research assistant and put her part-time for 12 months. All right. So this is the old budget, but this is what I had submitted. All right. Then the second section I have is equipment. So I'm gonna buy a laptop to do the research work on. You know, you can't do the research work on your work computer where everybody have access to it. So you want a dedicated computer. Where is my proposal gone? Oh my God. All right, I did something wrong. I'm gonna find it and share it with you. Let me share another budget, a different budget. Hold on, let me find it, guys. Mhm. I'm not good at manipulating some documents. Mm. Okay, so quickly. Where is it? I think I have it here. Oh Lord, why are you giving me such stressing? Don't stress me out this evening. I'm already exhausted. Okay, and I'll soon show you the new budget. Oh God, no, don't tell me that. Oh, you are not telling me that. I'm just impatient. All right, now I will be able to show you my new budget. So you will see where I'm coming from. So it's just a different format from what I showed you in the lecture. All right. So as I said, I reduced amount of salary and put the person part-time. Are you seeing my screen? I'm assuming that you're seeing it. Are you seeing it?
Yes, we're seeing your screen.
Okay, wonderful. So you see, I've divided the budget now into sections. So personnel, then equipment. All right. So audio recorders for the transcription, for the interviews, the laptop, a tablet for the data collection, travel. All right. So amount for local travel, incentives for the persons, because you know you're recruiting people These are people who are ill, they come to the doctor, you're going to ask them for an hour of their time. So you're giving them a little incentive. So plan to give them some incentives and to pay for refreshment. Thank God the Ministry of Health will pay for refreshment. Some people don't want to see that in their budget. And then the other section is the data analysis, the software to do the data analysis, we're paying for it, the transcription, 95 hours of transcript. You see the amount of detail. What I'm trying to show you is the amount of detail you have to put in your budget so that people will know I am asking for, you can't just put audio recorders 12,800. All right, how many? And what is the unit cost? All right, your research assistant, she's part-time and she's 12 months. That's the kind of detail they want to see in order to know whether you're being reasonable. All right. So it's the details I'm trying to show you. So the software, it's 3 people gonna use it at 2,500, for 6 months and so on, so on. So those kind of details, you can't just put a blanket amount. People want to know what is this money for, and then for dissemination. All right. So any questions?
Clear so far.
Okay, thank you for being nice students, not asking too many questions, and for participating and seeing that you were paying attention. I hope you actually learned something, and I wish you all the best with the rest of your journey in the MPH program. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Same to you, and happy Easter when it comes.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you. Good evening.
Same to you guys.